Hey Playas, how you doing? Ted here from Playas Guide, and I am back with more PlayStation rares, this time for the PS2 as promised. What you're going to find on this list and what you're going to want to look for if you're looking for rare PS2 games in your game hunting journeys is a lot of Japanese games, but mostly horror games, survival horror games. These were really popular and really well done on the PS2, and they didn't get that big of a release like a lot of other PS2 titles. So number one on this list, a lot of you may be familiar with already, is Rule of the Rose. Now if you look this game up on eBay right now, you're going to see that it's not a cheap game, but there are plenty of them listed online for sale. And I think that this is because as we get into more and more disc-based games, the newer generations of games, you're going to see that most of these North American releases that are considered to be part of a library that aren't some limited special edition or promotional bundle, they are still pretty widespread releases. Now this game did have a little bit of a controversial release because of the involvement of children in a horror survival game, and that could be part of the reason why it is so rare. Number two is Kuno, another horror survival game. This is more of a Japanese style of gameplay. Number three is Rad. Now I don't think people quite thought this game was as rare as it is in the past, but more and more collectors are recognizing it as one of the rarest games on the PS2. Obscure, another horror survival game. You're going to see this trend here throughout this list, that these horror survival games are in demand and didn't get the biggest releases like a lot of other PS2 games. Blood Will Tell was not as popular in North America as it was in Japan, and that could be part of the reason why it's so rare. Samurai Western. This is a PlayStation game that was really not well received and I think went under a lot of people's radar, and this is one of the reasons why it is rare. Xenosaga is the next rare game on this list, and Xenosaga is a popular RPG, a part of a series. So a lot of times when you come across this game online, people will be selling it as part of a set, which is going to make it a little bit harder to get. While it's not the rarest game and you will be able to find several copies of it online, it is a very popular game, so there's not a lot of people willing to let this one go for very cheap. Futurama. Futurama was a game that was released after the series was actually canceled, so it didn't have a lot of steam behind it and probably didn't sell a lot of copies because of that. Had this game been released earlier during the height of Futurama's popularity, it probably would have done a lot better. Haunting Ground is another horror survival game that had some sexual themes to it, and that is the reason why it is so rare and in demand on the PlayStation 2. God Hand is number 10 on the list. This one is definitely not quite as rare or expensive as these other games, but it does squeeze its way onto the list. It had some pretty poor sales. So let's run down some of the other rare and uncommon games that didn't quite make it into the top 10. There is Dot Hack Quarantine, Fatal Frame 3, Jurassic Park Genesis, Clock Tower 3, Steambot Chronicles, MS Saga, Shadow Hearts, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So I think the Marvel vs. Capcom games are always going to be kind of uncommon for a lot of these systems because people still play them today. They're high in demand and they're not the most common game either. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Monster Rancher 4. I'm just giving you some basic North American releases here that are rare. That's it for the rare PlayStation 2 games. Perhaps I will do a video in the future on PlayStation collecting in general and talk about some of the different consoles and controllers that were released and some other interesting games that you should keep an eye out for. Anyways, keep it retro. Later, players.